I love a good road trip. Man, I remember back when I was a teenager in the early 20s, we'd go on some crazy road trips. I'm not going to get into specifics or details, but I do think this is true of, I guess, all kind of road trips. You have an expectation of something when you get there, whether it be good or bad. And when you get there, it's usually a little different. Maybe you're surprised in some ways. Maybe you're disappointed in other ways. But you get to your destination, especially if it's somewhere new that you've never been before. And it's just that experience is special. And they tend to stick with you. We got something like that happening here as we start off here today. In verse 24, and it says, on the following day they entered Caesarea. So who's the they here? Peter, 6 other guys, the brothers from Joppa, and the 2 servants and the soldier. They've made it back from Joppa. They're all there in Caesarea. And it's that following day, or the morrow after, King James fans there. It's a 30-mile journey up from Joppa there. Would have had to taken about a day and a half. And they spent one night out on the coastal road there. And again, they're at Caesarea. Caesarea. For a Jew, it is just a despicable town. I talked about it last week a little bit. Imagine a town that you just don't like going to, that you kind of despise. For us here in Alaska, they throw Anchorage out there. Maybe North Pole. Maybe San Francisco. Washington, D.C. Yeah, the swamp, right? I remember I went to D.C. a few years back. Oh, you're going to see D.C.? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll pray for you. You know what? I've been to San Francisco. I've been to D.C. I've been to Anchorage. And I can confirm that every single soul there needs Christ just as much as every single soul here in Delta Junction. And yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff at those places, but those people need Jesus just as much as we do. And I guess that brings us right to our first application. And we're going to do the applications as we go along this week. Kind of mix it up for you guys, keep you guys on your toes. Application 1. I know we're only one verse in. Not even a whole verse. Where's your heart when you go in a place where you stand out, where you're that alien in a foreign land? Does your guard go up? Like more than it should go up? Like so high up that it's like a one-way mirror that you're just looking out? Like a bubble that you've made just with one little thing, with like a little door that you open, you put your hand out and get your little groceries and your money, pull your hand back in. Is it that thick of a bubble? I guess, are you even willing to step into the Gentile arena? Step out into the world? I mean, we do almost every day. Are you willing to, I guess, kind of be a Peter in this situation? Would you go over to a non-believer's house if you were asked? Would you bring your family over there? Would just even you go? Or is your perfect Christian bubble just too hard to step out of? John 17, 14, 15, where is this? Christ is praying back to the Father and saying, oh, they are not of the world, but they are in it. Please protect them from the enemy. So we're in the world. We know that. Romans 12, 1 and 2 says, do not be conformed to this world. So we are out in this world. Christ is saying, keep the enemy from him. Don't be conformed to this world when we're out in it. Don't become like it. It's not saying don't go out in it. 2 Corinthians 5, 17, 21, talking about the reconciliation that we have through Christ, and that we should be ambassadors for that out in the world. Be that ambassador of his message of reconciliation, that people can be reconciled through God, to God through Jesus Christ. So we're called to be ambassadors out in this world. Don't be conformed to it. Father, be praying, Father, keep the enemies from us, but we should be out in it, not stuck in our bubble. Yeah, and it's a dark place out there, dark and perverse world. Shouldn't be afraid to go out and be the ambassador that we've been called to be. Yeah, it's gonna be uncomfortable. Yeah, you might have to say no. No, I'm not gonna drink that. No, I'm not gonna participate in that. No, I'm not gonna watch that. Times. I might say, why not? And you can say, because of what Christ has done in my life. That's why. Because of this in the Bible. And they might scoff, they might laugh. But you can stand firm in your faith and still be out in the world. Be strong and courageous. Be prepared by being in God's Word. Be in prayer about it. Be a servant, be his ambassador for Christ. And this message of reconciliation that we can have through Christ's work on the cross. So that's your first application there. Go out into that Gentile arena. Don't be afraid to go in a non-believer's house. Cornelius. So, they've made it up to Cornelius' house. He was expecting them, and he called together his relatives and close friends. Again, we saw him back in verse 8, where he had sent the 2 guys to soldiers now. We've been hearing about him, but finally he's back at forefront in the picture. And he was expecting them. He had done the timing in his head. You probably do this all the time. Okay, we're going to Fairbanks today. If we leave at 10 o'clock, we make it up there at noon, then we shop for 2 hours, that's 2, and then we can be home by 4, get dinner ready, and then make it to Wednesday night. That's just how I do it. But yeah, we do the time in our head. Cornelius was obviously doing that here, because as he was expecting them. And yeah, he did the timing. Good. But as part of that, he had faith that these guys were actually going to come back with Peter. Right? He doesn't know about Peter's vision and trance there. He has no idea about that happening. He had the angel come to him. He said, send some guys to go get him. And yet he does the math in his head, assumes that Peter's coming back, has that faith that God's going to follow through with his plan. And what does he do? He brings over all his relatives and close friends. He's called everybody over there to greet Peter. I can imagine him looking out the window, or a guy up on the roof will look out. Hey, look, there they are. There's 10 guys coming. Oh yeah, there's the garden. Jim and Benny. Oh, there's Peter. He's got 6 other guys with him. Here they come, guys. Here they come. It's like a surprise party almost. All right. Verse 25. And they get there. When Peter entered, Cornelius met him, and he fell down at his feet, and he worshipped him. Whew. So this is the first mention of Peter here today, in today's text, and he'll be talking here a bunch at the end of this verses, but he's there standing in the door. Again, he's got the 6 other brothers from Joppa with him. There's a crowd of people on the inside. And what happens? Cornelius flat down on his face, bowing to this guy, bowing to Peter, worshiping. I could see Peter shaking his head, just putting his palm up to his face, going, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into this time? Lord help me. And I could see him doing that. God help me in this situation. The guy's bowing down to him. Maybe even laying down all the way flat on his face. We learn a little bit about Cornelius here. He was revering Peter as a holy man. He didn't know better. This is what they did to the pagan priests, the pagan holy men of the towns and villages. They would bow down to him because they're like, hey, bow down to me. Sure. That's what he was doing here. He was trying to show respect. But what is Peter's response? But Peter lifted him up, saying, stand up, I too am a man. Peter knows we don't worship men. Yet that's a big thing in Jewish culture. The 10 Commandments, no other gods before me, make no graven image. There's the first couple there. 10 Commandments. They didn't have pictures. They wouldn't even write Yahweh down. Um, yeah, they were very. I mean, they still won't even today write God on some of their web pages because they don't want it to desecrate it in any way. So high revered for God's name, personhood, all that, and only God was to be worshipped. Yeah, he knows that. Why? Daniel 3, golden image of King Nebuchadnezzar. Huge statue, right? You got Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They're like, we're not going to worship him. All right, throw him in the furnace. Fourth man in the fire, Christ, there's protecting him. But yeah, a statue of a man, no. Worshipping the man, no. Skip ahead a couple chapters to Acts 12. King Herod Agrippa. He's got his great speeches going on. The people start praising him and placing him alongside God. What happens to him? Dies. One verse later. And finally, John. John, the disciple. You think, oh man, he would never do such a thing. Revelation 19. He falls to the feet of the angel. Not Christ, but to this angel. And what does the angel say? No, don't worship me. Worship God. So, second application for today, only worship God. Christianity 101, right? Sure. But, just like most things, we've screwed this one up as well. Worship only God, not men, not angels, not saints, not Marys, not holy men, not our theological heroes. And I have mine too. Not statues of men. Like the statue of Peter where his toes worn down from people kissing it. A, that is just gross. And B, it's just wrong. You're kissing a foot of a statue of a man. It ain't Christ. Worship only God. That's a problem. Again, even within Christianity, men elevate themselves, women elevate themselves, we elevate them. Because we want something to feel, to touch, to hold, to kiss. We fall in that trap. Not worshiping God, but worshiping a thing. Ask yourself, have you ever elevated a man or a woman above God? It's a good question to ask yourself. Have you in your past, maybe in your lost life, before you came to the Lord? Maybe even since. Have you ever elevated the writings or the teachings of a man above God's word? Saying, I know what the Bible says, but I know what this person says, and I like it better. Whew. That's not right. This should be a lesson for all of us. Worship only God. It was a lesson for Cornelius at the time. Just get up. I too am a man. Come on, brother, get up. He didn't know. We do. Verse 27, as he talked with them, he went in and he found many persons gathered. So he goes in. Peter takes the plunge into the Gentile gross land of this guy's house. Oh gosh, oh man, I gotta go in here. And the people are gathered around, ready, waiting for him, thinking, Peter, is this for me? Is all this for me? No, Peter, it's not for you. It is for God. It is for Christ. They're gathered. And then Peter says, his dialogue picks up. You yourselves know how unlawful it is for a Jew to associate with or to visit anyone of another nation. But God has shown me. But God has shown me that I should not call any person common or unclean. So yeah, even they would know how unlawful it is for a Jew to associate. They knew Peter wasn't supposed to be there. They knew Peter was going out of his comfort zone. And that he was obeying God in doing so. He says, as God has shown me. It's referencing back to the dream, the trance, the hunger, hallucination, whatever you want to call it. Saying, I should not call any person common or unclean. I should not call any person unholy, common, defiled, impure, and unclean. The vision was not about food. We talked about that. Talked about food a little bit last week. Mark 7, Colossians 2, Romans 14. The menu's open. Don't be a glutton. Share your bacon with me. Right? Don't push legal. If you want to have your diet your way, fine. But it's not going to make you any more holy. You can eat what you want. Give thanks for this provision and don't overdo it. But for countless generations, Jews were separate. They were the chosen nation. That's what they knew. Especially if they got back from exile. The xenophobia got way worse. Because God was disciplining them when Babylon came in. When Assyria came in and brought them back to Babylon. And when they got back from the exile, it ramped up big time. Jews were holy, everyone else was unholy. Jews were clean, everyone else was unclean. But not anymore. God said no more. No more. But God has shown me that I should not call any person common or unclean. Any person. And the process of gathering in these other nations, the people outside the Jewish nation it started at this Roman centurion's home 2,000 years ago. Verse 29, so when I was sent for, I came without objection. I asked them, why you sent for me? Without objection. Like how Peter kind of adds that in there. Luke's grabbing this down. And there's a little bit of objection. Oh, by no means, Lord, I would never eat anything. Right? Remember that little part? But once he got his marching orders, he went. Then he says, I asked why you sent for me. Well, he already knows. Back in verse 22, he's like, hey, we want to hear what you have to say. He's just restating it here to Cornelius. And then verses 30 through 33, we see a retelling of verses 1 through 8, basically, from Cornelius. I'll cover them real quickly. Cornelius said, 4 days ago, about this hour I was praying at my house, in the 9th hour, and behold, a man stood before me in bright clothing. 4 days ago, if you're reading through this, you're like, wait, I think we're only on day 3 here. Culture of the day, you always count the starting day as well. Same thing with Christ, crucified on Friday, or Saturday, rose again on Sunday. That's 3 days, you count it like that, you count the starting day. We don't count our days the same, so don't get hung up on that. So 4 days ago, he was praying at the 9th hour. Remember, that's 3 p.m. Palestinian Standard Time. And then a man stood before him in bright clothing. This angel, it's clear as day. The older King James manuscripts has there that he was even fasting. So he's praying, he's fasting, he's giving. And he was doing everything he could to seek God. 31, and then that angel says to Cornelius, your prayer has been heard and your alms have been remembered before God. God hears the prayer of Cornelius, who was seeking him, begging God, and God answered in a big way in his life and his people's lives. They were remembered before God. Kind of like a memorial, like a burnt offering. They're ascending up to him, pleasing and acceptable. Verse 32, the angel continues to talk, send therefore to Joppa and ask Simon, who's called Peter. He's lodging with houses. Simon, a tanner by the sea. So I sent for you at once. Verse 34, you've been kind enough to come. I like that little part. You've been kind enough to come. Now therefore we are all here in the presence of God to hear all that you've been commanded by the Lord. You have done well to come. King James has there. It was kind. And yeah, he was obeying God, and he did well to do so. Cornelius adds, and we are all here in the presence of God, brother. Well, he doesn't say brother. That's the Hulk Hogan coming out in me, but we're all here together, brother. We're all in the presence of God. Jew and Gentile together. Peter had been prepared and sent by the Spirit. These people were ready. They were brought in by their faithful friend, Cornelius. They were hungry for the word, ready to hear. And hear what? All that you've been commanded by the Lord. There's a saying, come on. What have you been commanded by the Lord? Preach to us, brother. Preach to us. Peter has been walking all day. There's 3 o'clock. Walked the night before. Slept out on the road. These dirty Gentile dogs are surrounding him. Are they worthy to even hear this message? They're not clean. He puts that all aside, and he obeys, and he preaches his heart out, that we see in verses 36 through 43. We'll get to them next week. Found a nice quote here from Boyce during my research, and I'll just read it. When you go to church, do you want to receive a good message? If so, the best way is to come with a prepared heart. I know that the preacher must be prepared too, but when God prepares the messenger as well as those who are to hear him, then tremendous things happen, unquote. Last application of the day. Prepare yourself for worship. Anticipate the singing, the giving, the preaching. Are you like these guys, looking out the window, anticipating someone coming to preach? Are you praying for those that are teaching in this body? Are you praying for your own heart and mind to be transformed by the word? Do you pray before you even read your Bible? Ask for his leading and inspiration. How do you prepare yourself spiritually? How do you prepare yourself spiritually for today? When you come to worship? Or is it just material preparations? The eggs, the pants, the socks, the hair, the makeup. Is it just material? Is it all our stuff that we need to bring each week? Sure, do all those things. We need to do all those things in a lot of cases. Please take a shower if you need to. But I would rather have you here looking like just got hit by a dump truck and prayed up the whole week for this time, than coming in here looking like a movie star and hadn't even had a second thought about praying for George or any of the other leaders here and teachers here for this week. Verse 34, so Peter opened his mouth and said, truly, I understand that God shows no partiality. So he opened his mouth. He's not using sign language. He didn't leave a note under the door, slide it under the door. No, he's using his mouth. Romans 10, verses 12 through 17. Verse 12 there. For there's no distinction between Jew and Greek, for the same Lord is the Lord of all, bestowing his riches on all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. How then will they call on him, in whom they have not believed? And how are they to believe in him, of them they have never heard? And how are they to hear without someone preaching? And how are they to preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet for those who preach the good news. But they have not all obeyed the gospel, for Isaiah says, Lord, who has believed what he has heard from us? In verse 17, so faith comes from hearing, and hearing through the word of Christ. Peter's living this out. He's preaching the word. He's preaching the word so that they have a gospel to believe. He's using his mouth to do it as he opens his mouth As he says that, he says, truly I understand that God shows no partiality. The NASB has there, truly I now know. Some added context. He had always thought that him and the Jews were set apart, and they were. God was partial towards them as a nation, yes. He was right in that sense. But Christ changed all that. The cross changed all that. For God so loved the world changed that. And that God shows no partiality. And we saw in James chapter 2 last week about us, about our own partiality, our own prejudice causes sin in our lives. Through pride and tradition, we treat people different just because they are different. Not because of their actions, but because they are different. God's not partial towards individuals. He is not. Deuteronomy 10, going way back. 10:17, for the Lord your God is God of God and Lord of lords, the great, the mighty, the awesome God, who is not partial and takes no bribe. 2 Chronicles 19:7, now then, let the fear of the Lord be upon you. Be careful what you do, for there is no injustice with the Lord our God, or partiality, or taking bribes. Job 34:19, again speaking God, who shows no partiality to princes, nor regards the rich more than the poor, for they are all the work of his hands. God the Father isn't partial either. Not to the individual. He'll treat us all as sinners, because that's what we deserve. He will treat us all like sinners and bestow the judgment that we deserve. For he is holy and we are not. He'll treat us the same apart from Christ's work in our life. Christ is in our life. We've received the grace that he's offered. Bam! Then you are set apart. Verse 35, but in every nation, anyone who fears him and does what is right is acceptable to him. In every nation, anyone who fears him. Like, oh man, I don't know if God's scary. No, just believe who God is and who he says he is. And if you're a sinner, and you're not saved, that should be fearful in a way. I mean, it is. No one wants to go to hell. But anyone who what? Fears him in every nation. United States, Israel, Iran, Iraq, Nigeria, California, San Francisco, Washington, D.C. Every nation, every place. You're fearing him? There's people that fear him in all those places. And then anyone in those nations. Black people, white people, red people, yellow people. Yes, even that blue-haired person that just drives you crazy. No-haired persons as well. Rich, poor, old, young, male, female, Gentile, Jew. God's not looking there. God's looking on the inside. God is looking at the heart. He sees your heart. He knows your heart. He wants your heart. That does what is right. Those who does what is right and is acceptable to him. What's right here? Like 1 John, going to this. John writes, dear children, don't let anyone deceive you about this. When people do what is right, it shows that they are righteous, even as Christ is righteous. ESV there is those who practice righteousness. It shows that they are righteous. Doing the right thing, doing the commanded thing. What is the right thing? What is the commanded thing? Verse 23, 1 John 3. And this is his commandment, that we believe in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and love one another just as he's commanded us. The commandment is to believe and love one another. That is it. Believe and love one another. As we believe in him, we are loving God. believing who he is and what he's done for us. And then we get to show that love to others. And you know what? That's acceptable to him. Acceptable is the smallest possible word I think they could translate to this. We won't be rejected by him based on the nation we are from, by the language we speak, by the color of our skin, by our past. That is not it. We're not rejected because of any of those things, or who we are as individuals. We become not acceptable to him if we reject the good news. This good news that Peter's about to preach, that you're going to hear upstairs, that we hear every Sunday here, rejecting that in your heart and your head. That's what makes you not acceptable to God. Peter's audience at Cornelius' house was about to hear the good news. The rest of the chapter bears all that out. And they were surely accepting of it. And we'll cover that next week as we finish up chapter 10. So as a quick application review to finish up. Number 1, enter out into that Gentile arena. It's okay to pop the Christian bubble that we live in. I know it's safe. I know it feels good. I know it's easy and comfortable in our Christian life, in our Christian home, in our Christian church, of our Christian youth programs, our Christian board games. We go get our Christian gas at the Christian gas station because they're playing Christian music there. And it's just in our bubble. We can't be so afraid of the world to pop out of it. To go into the Gentile home, to go to the non-believer's barbecue, or whatever it may be. Number 2, only worship God. Not men, not angels, not saints, not statues, not paintings, not theologians, not pastors. You might say, oh, well, you know what? I'm not bowing down to anybody like that. Cool. Me neither. Are you worshiping something else? Are you worshiping in a different way? Are you trusting man's words over God's words? Are you elevating man more than they should be? Are you putting yourself next to God? Are you putting other men next to God? He's way up there. We are way down here. Only worship God. Cornelius didn't know better. We do. And last one. Prepare for and anticipate worship. I hope you're anticipating the service here as we get ready to go up there. I hope you're not dreading the next 2 hours of your life. Some of you might be. And I'm sorry. And I pray for you, and if you are, please come talk to me. Please come talk to George. Please grab a brother or sister here. If you truly are. Some of us are going to be here more than another 6-9 hours. I'm not dreading it. I pray you are not either. Maybe you're like, really are anticipating. You're like, when's this guy going to shut up? Here in about a minute and a half. That's when. And then we can go up there and worship together. But before we do, last few questions. Did you pray? Did you pray for the service today? Did you pray for George? Last night, this week, this morning? Did you pray for the musicians? Song leaders? People teaching in this building today? People worshiping in this building? Did you pray for yourself? Saying, God, clear my head of all the junk of this world today. Help me to receive your word. Help me to worship from the heart. Thank you for your grace and your love that you've shown me. Help me to truly worship today from my heart by your Spirit. Help me to worship with all my heart as I follow you today. Or a prayer. Something like that. Are you praying for yourself? Are you praying for the people here today? If you're not, I encourage you to do so. Make it part of your nightly prayers or your morning prayers, your Saturday night prayers. Next week, Peter shares the good news as we finish off the chapter. The Holy Spirit indwells those who hear it. And then, where's the water at? It's time for a baptism. Let's rejoice.